Hi, welcome to So Let's Talk About Music. I'm David Galant, and I'm your host today. And we have a special treat. I'm here with Nora Veblen. Nora is a music therapist, and she is from the Lexington area and has her own business. It's called Wildwood Music Therapy. And what I thought I would do today is enlighten some of our listeners about the field of music therapy and what it offers and what it can do in healing. I'm sure many of you have heard about music therapy and have heard it exists, but have wondered perhaps, can I get involved in that? Can that help maybe a significant other? And so Nora is here to enlighten us. Thank you for being here and
Thanks for
welcome.
having me.
Yeah, so Nora, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in music therapy or what drew you towards it.
Sure. Well, I grew up musical family, in band and all that good stuff. And so originally I went into music education. I wanted to be a teacher. I still love teaching, but I had seen music therapy in high school, just observing it in a hospital. And I knew that's what I wanted to do for my master's, because at that time, teachers had to get a master's within a certain amount of time. And in my music education training, when we started learning about different disabilities and the needs that those kids have in the school and in the music classroom, I think that I just fell in love with that group of people, and this sort of passion evolved that just that people deserve to learn and grow in their own way, at their own speed, in the way that works best for them. And I still love teaching, but I think that I felt with music therapy, I wasn't as limited to working on musical goals and learning musical content. Rather, we could use the music to work on whatever was most important in that moment to the person I'm working with. So whether someone has had a traumatic brain injury and I'm helping reinforce the skills they're working on with their physical therapist, their speech therapist, somebody who's in a lot of pain. If it is in the school system, maybe their social emotional needs are what's most important to them in that moment. And so there's a little more flexibility with how I can use music to work on those different types of goals.
That's really interesting. So you get people that are referred to music therapy. So let's just say for our audience, how do you get most of your clients? Are they because they have sought you out, or are they other doctors or physical therapists that have recommended your services?
The broad music therapist answer is kind of all of the above. I'm in private practice, so a lot of my clients, they seek me out. Usually it's because of a diagnosis or an injury or something that people are already aware that music therapy is beneficial. So kids who are neurodivergent, especially autistic kids, someone who's had, like I said, a traumatic brain injury, where we know especially music can kind of tap into areas of the brain that aren't damaged, people with dementia. But we also get to collaborate with a lot of existing organizations. So we've done a lot of outreach, kind of education about what we can do. So we get to collaborate with a lot of, older adult residential facilities, dementia care. We do a lot of work with therapeutic recreation through the Parks and Recreation Department. And those are actually we do a lot of adaptive lessons and group lessons for adults with disabilities. We work a lot with like the Down Syndrome Association, the Autism Society of the Bluegrass, and so we get some referrals from there as well. But music therapists work in hospitals, they work in school systems, they work in mental health facilities, in addiction rehab, hospice. And so in most of those situations, we'll have like a referral criteria. These would be people who would really benefit from music therapy. If you have patients that kind of match that, send them our way, and then we'll do an assessment.
So when you get these people that come in, whether they've had traumatic brain injury or they're on the spectrum or something like that, and you know that you want to use music as therapeutic, do you have a select group of, or selective artists that you use for music, or do you use classical music, jazz, do you use pop music, do you use rock? And how does that music, that specific music, help them?
That's a good question. So the best practice in music therapy is whatever is their most preferred music. So that could be classical, although we mostly, if we're playing the music, we're doing live music a lot of the time. Sometimes recorded music is more effective because that's exactly the sound that they remember, or it's something that they can play for themselves at home. But whatever they like, so, in school, especially I did my internship in a hospital, and so, I was learning lullabies for the NICU, and then all the way through like current music, all the way back to like the 30s and 40s, so that we have something kind of from the whole lifespan, rock, gospel, jazz, all different genres. And so the preferred music, what people really love, tends to be what is connected to the most in their brain. It's really ingrained in their memory, which is tied to emotional processing. It might prime their motor cortex the best because it's just what they love, what kind of gets them excited. So for sometimes the listening and kind of receptive music it's kind of called music as therapy. The music is the therapy, and maybe they're making music. Maybe we're, they're writing their own song. So we might not be using any type of popular genre at all. I might be giving them instruments to play and having them do it in a particular sequence to work on cognitive goals or, executive functioning. But we also sometimes perform, or, we're playing the music and using it as a kind of a stepping stone towards talking about what they're going through, or often, if someone has expressed something in a song, that might be easier for you to talk about than to talk about how you're feeling, or, dig into those things yourself. Sometimes doing it through the music can be a little easier.
And for me, at least, music really connects my emotional and psychological output. Like it really feeds into how I express myself, which makes a lot of sense. So why the music though? Why do you think it's the music that aids in rehabilitation? I've heard that it engages multiple cortexes of the brain and all these things, but what is it about music that is so special that it can potentially help someone that's ailing from any type of problem like that?
It's a good question. I think there's a couple of answers that I go back to. One really is that it's processed all over the brain, so it's just a really complex stimulus. And so depending on who we're working with, we're tapping into different parts of that. So for example, sometimes a stroke patient may have damaged the part of their brain that they were using to speak, but music and like the lyrics of a song that they know is stored in a different part of their brain, and so they're able to sing and like recruit more of their brain to do a task that would normally just use less of their brain. So that's kind of similar with dementia, because music is processed and stored all over the brain. you kind of keep a lot of that memory. It stays for a lot longer. And the other part of it is sort of, maybe there's not a way to really describe why. Music has existed as long as humans have existed. It's innate. Even infants respond to music as a reward. That's as part of one of the specialized NICU music therapy trainings. Just, right off the bat, all the way through the end of your life, people show unique responses to music. A couple of people have described it to me as they've seen that for their child or their adult child, that music just seems to open a door for some people that just uniquely opens a door that other modes don't open. And not everybody responds really, really well to music therapy. Some people it's particularly effective because it just connects with something. One of my clients too is in PT/OT speech therapy, and in music therapy, we sort of integrate the different things that they're doing in those therapies into music and kind of connect some of the dots, I guess.
I watched a video on YouTube recently, and it was a Russian ballet dancer. I don't know if you saw this.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And she was in Swan Lake, and she was suffering from Alzheimer's and couldn't remember anyone. And they put the music on, and she immediately was moving, and she remembered the dance or the ballet steps that she had to take. And then they actually showed a video of her when she was younger doing it alongside her, kind of mimicking the movements. It's amazing. And on that thought, how long have you been doing this for?
A little over 5 years now for me. Yeah.
Okay. So in those 5 years, have you already had an aha brilliant moment where you had someone that came in and you worked with them, and all of a sudden it went from black and white and turned to color? Like one of those moments where, that's what I'm living for, and that's why I'm doing this job.
Yeah, I think it's interesting now that I'm in private practice. There's sort of, I do a lot more of long-term goals. So we're working gradually towards those things. But definitely when I was working in the hospital, the one thing that comes back to me in particular was a patient who was on hospice. All of her family was there, and they weren't getting very much response from the patient. The patient was no longer communicating with them verbally, but I came in and they let me know what her favorite music was. And I think we did some gospel songs. And at some point, the patient opened her eyes and started singing with me. And the response of the family really was what I was living for, because they were able to see she's still in there. And they sang with her, and they were able to have this moment of connection together in this very difficult, dark time. There was this sort of moment of light and joy together. Just sometimes the connections are the things that I get most excited about that people have through the music.
That's so beautiful. I mean, what a wonderful moment to be a part of and to share and to witness. That being said, too, we're obviously novice to music therapy. I was going to ask, is there anything that you would want to share to someone who didn't know anything about music therapy that maybe is unique or specific that we would never know, and that you can elaborate on the field?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because usually people that I encounter, even today, someone asked me, what do you do? I'm a music therapist. And there's, oh, what is that? And trying to explain it while I'm in the middle of getting my driver's license renewed. It's like, I don't have enough time to say. I think just from an advocacy standpoint, the knowledge that people use music therapeutically all the time on their own. And a lot of people already have the knowledge and the skills, the ability to use music to benefit their own wellness. They might not need a music therapist, but the field of music therapy, it is a 4-year degree. You do an internship, board exams. A lot of people go on to get their master's. And so there's that particular training that is important, not only so we can guide the people who need help facilitating the different ways that music engagement can help them, but to avoid harm. For example, particular songs might have a really negative emotional response. And if that happens, you need somebody there to be able to help you process that and work through that. We work with a lot of people who have sensory processing issues. And so you've got to be careful with the kind of music and the complexity of music that you use. And I think that even if you wouldn't benefit from music therapy right now, I bet someone or you yourself might benefit at some point in your life. If someone's in the hospital, we dealt a lot with anxiety, depression, pain, emotional processing. There are music therapists in a lot of facilities around, at least I know in the Lexington area. I'm not as familiar in this area, but just ask. I would say sometimes we're around and people just aren't aware. So, ask your doctor, ask your pediatrician, ask your, speech therapist or whoever, is this resource available where I am? And they have ways of finding that kind of thing out for you.
Awesome. I guess one last question would be, could you talk briefly about the different types of programs you offer at your place of work, and also why you feel that what you offer maybe sets yourself apart from the rest of your competition?
Sure. Well, I think that we might have some things that are different. I really feel there's room for all of us. The unique things that we probably have are, we do a lot of adaptive teaching. Most of our music therapists had that background in music education as well. And so we have sort of started to specialize in not only adaptive lessons for people with physical or cognitive disabilities, but just within our regular lesson programs, focusing on not just performance and being really good. Well, we want our students to improve, but there's all those other benefits of engaging in a leisure skill, having something that you can use the rest of your life to help you cope with anything that might come up, that might help you connect with other people around you. And really going into 2024, I'm trying to build the business. Being a business owner is kind of a new-ish role for me. In addition, it's become kind of my primary role next to being a music therapist. And so I'm really trying to be value-led, and I feel that I was before, but really focusing on building connection and building community and being very curious. I think being really curious about who we're seeing, what their needs are, how can we really get to know people and collaborate with the communities that we serve, so that we're not coming in and saying, we're the music therapists, we know what you need from us, but saying what what are your goals? What do you need? What do your clients need? And how can we work together to help you achieve those things?
Well, Nora, what you do for the community is a special service, and we appreciate what you do. And I think those that are watching this are going to be enlightened about what you do for a living. And I wanted to say thank you for coming here and being a
Thank
part
you.
of this. At the very end, you will find more information about Nora and more specifics about her website, so that you can go check it out. Thank you for tuning in to So Let's Talk About Music, and we look forward to seeing you next time.